you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to The Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome back to The Songwriter Show, right here on Reality Radio 101. I'm your host, Sarantos, a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words just mean the world to me, and that's why I love hosting this show for you every single Tuesday evening. I believe in my heart that every song is a story. Tonight, I'm so excited to have a really cool guest, Matthew Lesko. He's a renowned expert in government grants and financial aid, known for helping individuals access funding opportunities. He's been studying grants for nearly 48 years, and I think he's going to be a very interesting guest tonight. So let's get started.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Matthew. How are you?
Oh, fine. Thank you. No, at 81, I have a pretty low bar. I'm happy. I'm above ground.
That's good. That's very good. So
that's about it.
Yeah. So you're kind of like a songwriter. I thought it'd be kind of cool to have you on to talk about. I think a lot of people don't realize where they can get grants for all sorts of things, right? From music, from book authors. So tell us a little bit about that. Why should our listeners be listening to you right now?
Well, because they like words, right? For songwriters.
That's right.
And actually, I as you're saying, I'm sort of illiterate. I've always flunked every English course I take, and I have 2 New York Times bestsellers. And when the first one became bestseller, I tried to find that English teacher who flunked me. It was actually up in Milwaukee at Marquette. I told her it didn't matter, but words are so important, and lyrics I think are wonderful. I mean, I spend my life trying to use lyrics of some kind to get people's attention. In other words, I take government programs that nobody knows about, and they're in bureaucratic language. Like my famous example is there's a program that I found way back in the beginning, and we still have it in the government all over. It's called the Urban Homesteading Act. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Washington or anything, you look at urban homesteading. When I see that, I think homesteading, that's the cowboy movies back in the 50s or whatever. The homesteaders came and got land and whatever. And when I read the details, I say, God, that's not the Urban Homesteading Act. That's a house for $1. And what they are programs, they're houses that government has that they had the mortgage on. The government mortgages almost guarantees every mortgage in this country. So when you don't pay, what happens? They wind up in the attic kind of thing in Washington, and they forget about them. And they, oh shit, what are we going to do with that? So after they get run down, then they give them to people for $1. Yeah. And what also you usually get, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand to fix it up too. So it's an incredible opportunity. Yeah. So these are the kinds of things that are out there. And I got an MBA in computer science, and I was helping rich people just get information in Washington. And what I wound up doing was getting the money to start new businesses, grow businesses. I had no idea about this stuff. I was just trying to get paid. And it just shocked me. And God, all these people, and a schmuck like me from barely got through college could go to these offices and find out all the information, the application, give my clients, and they'd get millions and millions of dollars out of this stuff. And growing up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, I had no idea. I thought the government was the DMV.
Yeah,
that's about it. But no, it's so big, and every rich. And you look at the people that were complaining about the government now, they're using the hell out of it. I mean, when you get the Tesla guy and Trump, and they get billions and billions every year from government programs. I mean, it's Amazon, you name it, Gates, all these people get billions in government grants, and the average person thinks there's something wrong. You shouldn't do that. And they don't advertise. So I'm making a mission after I did that for about 5-6 years, helping millionaires become billionaires. I got bored. It's no fun helping rich people, tell you the truth, except the money. And when you're starting, that's a good place to go, though. And then I said, how do I educate than normal people about these programs. I didn't know about them beforehand, and I'm sure everybody in Wilkes-Barre doesn't know about them. And how do I get there? And there where we come into writing again. I found out that I was also a computer science. I got an MBA in computer science back in the 70s. And I also was a professor in computer science in universities in Washington here. And it was mostly adults that came, after the job, trying to get another degree. And I found that if I couldn't educate anybody unless I kept them awake. You're
yes,
a podcaster.
That's kind of important. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I try not to make people stay awake because then, they might listen to what I'm actually talking about.
Well, as long as you got the money.
Wait, off the air, you're going to have to tell me how to get a grant for the Songwriter show,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, no matter what, you're an entrepreneur. Okay. So here you don't know what to do. I mean, anybody who's thinking about starting a business, or you're an artist or anything like that, trying to create your own income, kind of thing, as opposed to getting a normal job. There are programs everywhere of nonprofit organizations. The key is you don't look for money, you look for help. The money to go out and apply for a grant, like right now for songwriters or whatever. I mean, you'd get overwhelmed and you'd fill out some application, none of them will work, and you say, oh, fuck, there's nothing here, and you're going to give up.
Yeah.
So you can't do it that way. What you do is find the people that the government pays that are professionals in helping people like you succeed. I mean, if you go right now, you're in Chicago, and I'm sure, are you online? Can you go online now?
Sure. I mean, not right now at the show, but yes, in general, I can go online.
Oh, okay. I thought if you were on, I could show you right now, but, but okay, take this down, sba.gov, G-O-V, and then / and then local assistance. So that's sba.gov. All the good stuff is .gov or .org. They're the people that give you money. .com wants your money. These organizations give money. So it's .gov / local, all lowercase, -assistance. And you put in your zip code there. That's a database the SBA keeps of all the nonprofits in Chicago or any city in the country that help people start or expand their idea for free. I mean, this is what I did. When I had my Fortune 500 clients, they'd want to get money for something. I'd go to these people, find out all the sources, and charge these, rich people a lot of money just to make the call and go over there and get the information. But anybody could do it.
Yeah.
So whether it's you as a songwriter or whatever, they are there to help you. And the key to even using them is you don't rely on one. You could call a half a dozen. It's sort of like any consultants, even the free ones. Some know a lot, some know a little. So you keep going down the list. Yeah.
Do you have to go to like the local SBA office or something?
No,
or is this all you can do online?
All online. Now, when you find the people that you could meet with, they're local, so you can go local there. I would suggest go local. It's all a people business. It's not about the internet. Now, the internet is a burden. If you're trying to search Google for something, you're not going to win, and you just might as well give up now because you're going to waste the next couple of weeks, months, or whatever trying to find something. It's sort of me. I don't know anything about songwriting, but if I went to Google and put in help with songwriting or some shit like that, who knows what, and I get 2 million websites, right, of everybody and uncle who's going to help me do this, right, and of course they all want to charge money because they're paying to get me, And
that's what Google steers them towards.
Exactly.
They want their ads to work. It's great if you want to buy something, but if you sometimes just want free advice, it's almost like throwing a dart at the wall.
Absolutely. And to me, it's not like sometimes we have half the country who can't afford anything, and for them to take advantage of living expenses that are available, particularly if you're an artist, you're a writer or whatever. Well, man, you're struggling writing your words or poetry. I mean, that's how I always sound poetry. That's why I hate a lot of music. I can't hear the words. That's growing up in the 50s and 60s, you could hear all the words.
Yeah. Well, we do that on purpose as songwriters. We figure if you can't make out the words, then you'll your brain will paint its own picture and you might actually like our songs.
True. Great idea. It frustrates me, and that's why I'm going to do this till I die. There's help out there for anybody, and the rich people use it, so they don't need the help in my mind. They don't even need the money, but they get it. And the people who really need it, and really the creative class in our country, you're one of them. I mean, this is what makes our country grow, is the creative class. Now, every city, every state has an arts council, that is given federal money, state money, county money for artists, whether you're a songwriter or a tap dancer or anything. There's programs there. When I finished the thought I had before about getting at people, and I'm just like, if there's a songwriters convention, right, or a meetup group or something like that, you must belong to something like that, right? So that's the people to call, right? That they would know. So I don't have to go through 500 websites on Google to see who could help me with songwriting, right? That those people that are in a group like that will help you, and mostly for free, because they're there to help you, to help each other.
So is that why you did this? Did you just do it because you wanted to help like the everyday people kind of get through this?
That's why I do it. Yeah. Initially, I got it. I was trying to make a living.
Yeah. Trying to pay $1 billion, and now you're trying to help people, right?
Well, it's just fine. I mean, to me, life. I mean, you have an art, which I think is. I'm always jealous of somebody who had an art. I mean, be a singer, dancer, writer, or something like that. I never had those skills, but I think that's the really clue in life. If you could find what your art is and give that to the rest of society, that's the best we have. We have to figure out what our art is. And if we're not in the normal art stuff, we're all artists at something. Like I'm an artist of making an ass out of myself on TV, but that's...
Why limit yourself? I mean, I could do TV, radio. I can make an ass out of myself anywhere.
Right, exactly. Guess what I'm doing now? And that's true, but that's my talent. And in high school, I was thrown out of class after an hour. I hated school, and I was always just entertaining people or whatever. The bureaucracies didn't put up with that.
Yeah.
But it's trying to find out what you are so you can give the most. And I think the key in life is how much can you give before you die? And I think you could give the best in what you're special or unique or weird at. We're all trying to struggle, at least I did for a long time, trying to see what should I be doing in life, And we all steal from other people and think, and most people wind up doing things that they're just maybe mediocre at. And that's the kiss of death if you're mediocre at, because you're going to stay there.
Yeah.
It's better to fail and get out of there.
Yeah. So what is a common misconception that people have about government grafts?
Boy, I still wrestle with that. I don't know what's in. First of all, they think it's in Google, which it isn't. They think it's complicated, which it isn't if you understand how it is. I mean, if you're just going, like I mentioned earlier, you write you look for a grant, fill out an application. It's not going to work that way. Otherwise, you may get lucky, but you got to get the fish in a barrel. And that's why it's finding people, not websites. You have to find people that do that. And see, the government has people that are doing this, waiting for you to call. In nonprofit, like if you can't pay your debts, and you're a songwriter and you can't pay rent, well, there's an organization at HUD that finances financial counselors for free. And if you go to hud.gov/counseling, that's hud.gov/counseling, all lower letters, you'll see a map of the United States. You put in your zip code, and there'll be 12, 2 dozen, 3 dozen nonprofit organizations you could call and work out your credit problems, debt problems, and everything, all for free. If you go to Google, do that, again, you get 25 billion websites of people want your money for something.
Yeah, give us that website again so people can hear it one more time.
Yeah, HUD, as in housing, urban development, but hud.gov, and then a slash, and then counseling, all lower letters. And that's where you go. And otherwise, people think, I know the internet, I'll use Google. And you'll get people that are just going to get money from you. You didn't have to do it. And most people, that have to get stuck in paying money, don't have that money, so they go in further debt to pay the money to get out of debt, which is nuts, but they don't know their options. And that's what's clear. Well, here's another wonderful website I think everybody should know about. It's called Find, help.org. O-R-G. See, the good stuff is always G-O-V or O-R-G. O-R-G means they're a nonprofit organization. So if you go to findhelp.org, put in your zip code, and then you'll get Chicago area. Now, for Chicago, there'll probably be 4,000, 5,000 nonprofit organizations and government offices that give you money for all kinds of things in life.
So is that different than the SBA local assistance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does Find Help include the SBA stuff, or is it different?
It unfortunately doesn't. This is more for expenses, not business stuff. It's for living expenses. And that's business. I'm sure if you put in business, you'll get some of that stuff. But the SBA is better for business, or for making money, stuff like that. The other one, so if you're a songwriter and need to pay the rent, you go to Find Help. You don't go to the SBA. They won't know about it. They'll know about where you could get money to grow your business, not to pay rent, and stuff like that. So that's what Find Help is. So, but what's more important is that when you go to Find Help and put in rent in your zip code, at least in my zip code, which is DC, there's 77 organizations that help people pay their rent. See, this is another thing that stops people. People don't know there's 77. So maybe they'll fish around the internet and find somebody who says they're a nonprofit or whatever, and they say, oh no, we don't have any more money. Well, that's like going out and knocking on doors for a job, and the first one you call says, no, we're not hiring anymore. Doesn't mean there's no more jobs. But people aren't aware of where to find these, because it was so hard to find the one in Google.
Yeah.
I have no idea they could find 70 more.
How long you been doing this free stuff now? How many years?
Close to 50.
Okay. So you've been doing it a little bit.
Yeah. But I was, in the Navy, 3 years, 2 months, 9 days. I was a Vietnam vet and came back, got an MBA on the government, was going to want to start businesses, had a software company back in the 70s that failed, had another company that failed. And that was the best thing that happened to me, having those failures, because I wasn't having fun and I was failing. Hoping that someday I'm going to get this big enchilada. So you're so lucky with an art that you have to do that shit no matter what. Win, lose, or whatever. You're so fortunate.
Right.
Everybody else is in their job. Oh, I'm going to make $1 million. And most likely they won't. But and so they get pissed and they try another thing. I mean, even in my work, I've written 100 books and only 10 made money. But it's all about perseverance. Look, all the idiots running stuff. It doesn't take a genius to do anything, or most things.
So tell us a little bit about your website. Where can people find you, hook up with you? leskohelp.com. And this is probably the most important thing I've done in my whole life, because before I sold books. I had directories, books, and here's all the programs or whatever. I sold millions and millions of books. I've been on the New York Times bestseller list twice. For a kid who flunked English, man, that was quite pretty good, right?
Yeah, right. That was fun. But people didn't do much with them. It's sort of like diet books, I think. We sell so many diet books, and we keep getting fatter because it takes some work. And people just want to buy a book and think the problem's solved, and it's hard. And then people stopped buying books about 10 years ago or so, at least reference books. And I knew I've been a computer nerd kind of thing since the 70s. So I knew there's something on the computer, and how do people buy it? That's the thing. It's trying to, like you writing a song. I would think you could write anything. You just can't get in other people's heads of what they really feel and what word makes that feel. Whatever. It's understanding the market, and the same here. It's understanding how people will buy that and what they expect and how to get it. And what I stumbled into by accident is having a community. And that's what I have now, is a community. We got about 15,000 people or so that help each other find grants. So it's not only me. I'm worried about anything I started. I really didn't care because I was just trying to, feed myself until I die, which I probably got about 10, 15 more years, and not bigger businesses, but I wasn't interested in growing. I wanted to have something special to do. And that was, created income for me. So I paid my way, and this just took off, and not because of me, because of the members, helping members. So what I become a disadvantage because I've been doing this so long. So for somebody just starting this, it's hard for me to relate to them and them to relate to me. They see some guy in a weird outfit and talking a mile a minute. No, I can't be like him, so I can't get this. But if a member helps you, who just found out about this 2 months ago and just got 20 grand, you listen to that, and they know they're more inside their brain than I could ever get.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. So it's really, I call it a loving community. I mean, it's trying to love each other. That's a word I couldn't use until the last few years, to tell you the truth. I mean, I don't know about you as a guy, but me as a guy growing up in the 50s and 60s, you didn't even say the word love unless you got married.
Yeah. Different time for sure.
Right. Yeah. And now it's just, to me, and actually at this age too, this is what I see, that the only thing I have left to grow, in other words, and I don't know how old you are, you sound like 30, 40 maybe, I don't know. And you're not 80 like me anyway.
All these personal questions.
Right. That's what I can't see, so I guess. And guesses are usually wrong. But, as a man in this society anyway, you're always trying to get better, faster, smarter, stronger, all that kind of stuff. Well, at 80, none of that shit's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's just going to go downhill. But the one thing you can grow is your heart. Love. You can love better, right? So to me, that's the thing I concentrate on now. And that's why it's giving, and loving to me is giving, and giving is selfish because it feels so good.
All right, Matthew. Yeah, I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight, man. Very informative. I think the listeners, a little bit out of the ordinary, but I think they're going to be able to use these websites, and I think you've helped a lot of people tonight.
Great. My pleasure, Sam. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Matthew. So to all the listeners out there, thank you for listening to the two of us tonight. We hope your unique story gets heard around the world too. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every single Tuesday evening to hear other awesome artists share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show on Reality Radio 101. I love you all. Have a great night.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.